Welcome to Real Talk at the Round Table with Coach William Forkham and Coach David Smith and Coach Laura Sexton. We are happy to have you back for another episode. In this episode, we will be talking about worldly abundance versus biblical abundance and how those two contrast. David, what do you think?
Well, I definitely love not thinking about the woo-woo, keeping that out of the picture. So it's definitely an honor to have you here, Lauren. When you described your topic, it brought excitement to me because it makes me think of, they always talk about those woo-woo girls.
Right.
Each time you go into a place, they're always excited and stuff like that. So it brought my memories to those. So kind of help us with what was the thought behind this wonderful topic?
Abundance is something that I have been really interested in lately. It's something that I grew up in a world of scarcity. Scarcity was something that feels really comfortable for me. And I realized that if I want to be able to bring more in, I have to be open to abundance and I have to be open to receiving, which is not something that I find to be really easy. So I chose to start looking into this and figuring out what really kind of resonates with me, because to be completely honest, when I hear the word abundance and I hear people like, oh, live, abundance, like it usually comes from a life coach. And obviously there's no shade. Coaching is so valuable. And I love all coaches across the spectrum because what we do is so valuable. But it usually comes from life coaches that have this idea of, oh, just lie to yourself and tell yourself that you're living in abundance. And I'm like, that's disingenuous. And so I don't like hearing it from other people. They're like, oh, find the abundance. I'm like, ew. So I had to take it back. I think words are really powerful. And I said, abundance is something that I want. So I'm going to take this back and I'm going to turn it into something that I want it to be.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And I always say many times, because especially how you brought it in, there's different levels that we can go. We can either have our needs provided, we can have the desires, or we can have the abundance. But we have to line it up in the proper way. And what you use for abundance is like one of my favorites. That's where I always love. We want to set the vision with the abundance, but we want to have the direction realist and be exactly where we're at in the right direction. So with that being said, what is the way that you think of the stairs and the abundance way?
Ask the question, ask me again, a different way.
Being that we have a vision and
Okay.
there's, we can either have our needs provided or our wants provided, or, just, really stepping out there on faith. As a coach, we help people get to their vision. So with the abundance as our vision, what's our direction for getting towards that abundance?
Got it. Okay. I think that we can live in there. How best to say this? I think there are many different types of abundance. So I'm just going to throw this out here. I think that if you want to live in an abundance of scarcity, you can. So abundance is great, but it is not an ultimate destination. It is not a place that we can end up. It is something that we can live through and be a part of. So when it comes to what you're talking about, I think that we have to have the vision. We have to have a goal. We have to write it down, make it plain, make sure that we know exactly where we're going. And then we walk it out. And sometimes we need people to walk with us because it's hard. It's hard to make a change. It's hard to change life. It's hard to do anything new. So if you're going from a place of scarcity, it's really difficult to leave because that's comfortable. That's where you want to, like, your brain's like, no, stay here, stay comfortable. I want you here. This is good because we know this. but we have to get uncomfortable. So if you want abundance, that's great, but an abundance of what and how? So for me, when you're talking about that, I think, yes, we make a vision and then we give the vision its walking papers. We say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to walk this out. And you set step by step, this is how I get to an abundance of whatever you want it to be. Do you want it to be an abundance of time? Do you want to have an abundance of money? Do you want to have, whatever it is that you want an abundance of, you have to state it and then walk towards it. And it is only if you walk towards it with an open hand can you receive it.
It's really powerful. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Wow. And it reminds me of something very personal. Like I wanted an abundance of God's favor, like and focus and attention. Like I wanted to feel him smiling down upon me. Like it's one thing to have the intellectual knowledge of, yeah, I know that God loves me and like all of us because he is love, but it's another thing to feel his love, to feel his presence. So I wanted that. And it's like, well, how can I do that? So I made the decision that I was going to carve time out of every day in the morning, sometime in the afternoon, depending on where I'm at. Sometimes that can be tricky. It can be pretty fun, actually, especially with other believers. And then, at night, it's like there's something magical about turning the noise off and just like, whether it's worship music, whether it's reading his word, whether it's prayer, or sometimes it's just like, God, you are so mighty. You are so strong. You are so capable. There's nothing that this life can throw at me that you can't handle. And it's just like, you just feel it's peace that surpasses understanding. I don't understand it, but he's there and he loves me and I feel it. So I think that correlation goes with what you're saying. I feel like I knew what I wanted and I set out to get it by making those practical steps, carving out that time and doing the thing.
Yeah. You have to, anytime you have, sometimes my mouth goes faster than my brain. Hold on. Anytime you want to get to a destination, you have to put the car in drive. You're not going to get there if you just sit and park and hope that it's going to come. And I think that's one of my problems with abundance, right? Whenever you're talking with some of these gurus on the internet where they're like, okay, just sit in your car and pray for the abundance and it's going to come to you, or sit in your car and tell yourself, oh, I have $1 million. I'm good. No, you don't. And just because you say it out loud doesn't make it true. Now, the difference with that is one of the mantras I like to have and not a mantra if you say it, it will change. But I think that the power of life and death are in the tongue, and I want you to speak life over yourself. So I always say with my clients, I'm not good with money yet, but I'm working on it. I'm getting better with money. I'm good with money. And we work on that transition of how we speak to ourselves, because we can be very negative. I'm totally fine with you saying, I will have $1 million because one day I will. But I'm not okay with you lying to yourself and saying, I have $1 million in the bank. I have $1 million in the bank, because you don't. There's a cognitive dissonance there where I'm working on it is fine, but I'm lying to myself is a totally different thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I want to take back abundance, because I'm really tired of people lying to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a difference between wishful thinking and faith, right? Yeah.
And I know you can't really see too well, but like I'm holding my hand up high in the sky. Even for the viewers, you can't really see, but if you set your goal here, versus, and I'm doing my arm like low level with my shoulder. If you set your goal here, you're guaranteed to get here. Like I'm going to make $100 this week. Well, that's guaranteed. But if I say I'm going to make $1 million this week, now will I? Probably not, but I'm going to make more than that $100. So what if I make $100,000? A lot more than 100, but not as much. So if you aim high,
Right.
but keep it realistic as well.
Yeah, there's a book, and I can't for the life of me remember who wrote it, and I apologize to the author of the book. But there's a book called 10x is better than 2x. And it's something I actually really enjoy. And what it says is, if you want to get 10x your results, you do bigger and different things, because generally to 2x something, there are a lot of different things you can do. But in order to 10x your results, it's actually there's usually only one or two options. And so you're going to have to double down on those one or two options in order to hit that 10x result. Are we going to get to 10x every time? Not necessarily. But are we going to move in that direction? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, so it's definitely key to keep it in perspective and make sure that we're not lying to ourselves, but we're keeping in that motivational role. And so one of the stories I love using is, there's this guy that did the impossible. It was impossible for humans to do, yet he did it. And if that's you, call me and I'll walk on this water. And he literally was walking on the water. He was halfway away from the boat, and then he fell in, and he had to be picked up. His eyes, oh, you're good. His eyes was on the direction, and as soon as he took his eyes off, he fell in. Now, Will, I know you were looking, and I think you found the book that she was talking about.
Benjamin Hardy is the name of the author.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the one. Yeah, really powerful story, David. I think that there is something so special about our free will, our autonomy. God has given us the ability to choose everything, to the type of shoes we wear, to the type of moral decisions or immoral decisions we make day to day. And with those comes real consequences. We could have some pretty terrible blisters on the bottoms of our feet to our character. So if we really do believe that, there is a need for morality, I think that it's important to at least explore the ramifications thereof.
One of the things that makes me think is running 18 miles a day, or at least a goal of 18 miles. Now, me, I can't even run 10 feet, but Will loves to run. How many miles did you run today?
I've not run at all. 0
Oh,
miles today. I had an easy day. It was so relaxing, and I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, that's the most I've ever run in one go was 18. And David, I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's the same thing. I didn't start with 18, right? I started with a half a mile, and it was hard. It was grueling. I did not want to be out there running, let me tell you. But I wanted to prioritize health, right? I wanted to prioritize fitness. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about before and making it full circle. So it's like taking those practical steps and doing the thing and giving our walking orders activity. Yeah.
I can't imagine. The last time I ran a mile was probably in middle school, so I'm out. I refuse.
well, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
much
that's
in the
okay.
same boat as you, but I have this guy over here that's encouraging me to be able to run again.
That's awesome. I love that.
Running is an excellent outlet, for all of us runners. You've heard the term running high. And when we reach that, it's amazing the endorphins that are released. And I was thinking about that the other day. It's like God's reward system that He's built for us in our minds, but from the dopamine to the serotonin that get released whenever we do something hard. But if we're never doing anything hard, if we're never challenging ourselves, uh, then that reward system can get pretty scrambled, I think. So it's up to us. I think it's part of stewardship to make sure that we are challenging ourselves and we are doing the hard every day, day in and day out. But then also not shunning the comfort and not shunning the relaxation and taking the rewards when they come, and really finding the balance. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
David,
another one of those really hard things to find is balance. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, William. Go ahead.
yeah, it can be extremely hard to find that balance. Um, the yin and the yang, the yin and the yang. That's something pretty interesting. Um, but anyway, so David, not all of us are, not all of us want to be runners. So what other ways? I feel like this is somewhat of a tangent. Biblical abundance and worldly abundance is the topic. Let's get back on track here. Biblical abundance and worldly abundance, contrasting the two. Okay, here we go. How do the two overlap? David.
Well, I think they only overlap. Um, some people would like to say they don't overlap, and some people say they overlap completely. Here's the analogy I love to use. I'm going to take you back to old school. Um, a person a long time ago sung a song, Opposites Attract, taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Two different songs. But the idea behind it is in any relationship, and both of you guys know we all work on the same kind of coaching. We want them to be couples, right? And so typically you have one way off on this side and you have one way off on this side. Both sides are wrong. However, both sides pull each other in to that perfection. So if we stay one way, we're going to fail. If we go the other way, we're going to fail. We need to go into that happy medium. Now, some call it nerds and free spirit. Some call it free thinkers and wild.
Oriented.
But you got to have that happy medium. Now, the funny thing is our eyes don't see it properly. When we look at things, we can't comprehend it properly. Matter of fact, our eyes see things upside down and have to bring it straight side up. So, because of that, we're always missing the boat. However, when we align ourselves with the proper way, it seems to just be the perfect way, the way right in the center, the way it's supposed to happen. Is that what you were looking for, Will?
Yeah, no, I wasn't looking for anything. You got a clean slate, and I think you did a good job. No, I don't. Oh man, that is so many things. Laura, do you have anything specifically on your mind?
I have so many things on my mind. That's a loaded question. But in regards to this specifically, I do think that there is a large overlap. I don't think they're both completely together, and I don't think they're both completely separate. I think that, a worldly abundance is very much me-centered, right? Whenever I want the world, it's very greedy. And so it's hard to go after and get because it's something that I want for me. I want to have more of this, or I want to have more. And sometimes it can sound like it's a philanthropic kind of feeling, like I want to have more so I can give more to my kids. That sounds great, but that's I want, as opposed to the fact that we were told that our life was here to give us life abundantly. So how can we do that in such a way that is open and honest and pure? And I think that is to look at what abundance in not just a wealth context, right? So if we look at it as being full and rich and flavorful, and we look at it that way, like, how can I make life more flavorful? How can I make life more rich? As opposed to, how can I put more money in my pocket? And I think a lot of times when the world is saying, I want an abundance of X, it's inherently selfish. As opposed to, I want everything around me to be done to the full, to be lived out richly. I think that's where the difference kind of lies.
Reminds me of the scripture, really well said, by the way, Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So it's like, what's keeping us up at night? Like, it because I don't have the brand new iPhone, or maybe for some of you ladies out there, it's the iPhone and the Prada bag. Maybe for some of you men out there, it's the truck and the boats. That what is keeping us up? Where's our heart? Where's our treasure? Like, what are we really caring about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing, I love how you said that, because it's like when we have our direction, our key in the right focus, we want abundance, but we look at a different kind of abundance because we're not living for right now. We're living for what's to come. And so we would yearn and want to help our brothers out more, because as they excel, we excel. And so one analogy I love using is a pipeline. God used me as a pipeline, flow through me.
Okay.
I'm a willing vessel, touch your people. Matter of fact, a wise man once said, um, anything you want, I will give you because of your father. Just give me the same wisdom you gave my father. And he said, because you asked that, I give you everything else as well. And he was the richest man to ever be in existence. Key is his focus was not on money. His focus was not on anything else. His one focus was wisdom to lead your people.
It's really amazing what we get to do. Like, what we really get to do. Well, this life is not about us. It reminds me of the quote by C.S. Lewis on humility. Humility is not thinking of yourself less than. It's thinking of yourself less. And the most pious among us forget about ourselves altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing that came to mind for me right now was just, I had that conversation this week with a coach who was very nervous about going into conversation with one person in particular. And she was asking, she's like, well, what do I do? What do I say? How do I handle this? And I was like, well, you just call out the fact that it's weird and you move forward. And she's like, well, what does that do? And I said, it takes you both down a peg. Right? If you're going into a coaching session, you're lofty and you're high better than, it's going to be very difficult to have a conversation with a person. So if we can go into our sessions in either self-deprecating, deferential, kind of, we're on equal footing, I think that's really where we want to be, and that allows us to have a better connection. You can't have a really good connection with a person when one of you is like pie in the sky and the other one's way down here, right? There is no connection there. The connection comes when we become on equal footing. Now, one of you is obviously more advanced and has done things longer, further, faster than the other one who's just learning. But there's a closer relationship as opposed to being like fully separated and different. I think as coaches, it's one of those things that we have to really dig into, right? We need to find that the relationship is life change doesn't happen because I tell you what to do. Life change happens because of the relationship that we build and the fact that you trust me because of that relationship. It's not really an abundance thing, but it is a connection thing. And in order for us to reach to abundance, we have to have those connections and things around us.
Yeah. Abundance of connection.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, I think that there is, I think there's a lot to this in our day-to-day lives, a lot more than what we necessarily want to think of, and a lot more than we necessarily want to. It's hard. It is hard for a lot of people, especially people that are on the spiritual side, to be like, I want more, I want more, I want more. Because there's something in the water that says that's bad. You are, either you're a bad Christian or you're a bad Catholic or you're bad whatever for wanting more. And I really, truly feel like there's nothing wrong with wanting more as long as you have the contentment with what you have. And I think that's one of those things you have to really search your heart and search your soul and figure out where are you on the contentment wheel, right? Like if you are, I'm living in a place where I could really use some more space and I would really like some more space, and space would be really nice because we have 7 people in 700 square feet. Like it's not enough space. That said, when I look around my home, as lived in as it is, I'm so incredibly blessed, and I see that, and I'm so thankful for the people in my home, and I'm thankful for the mess because of the people that made the mess, and I'm thankful for the dishes I have to do because of the people that got to eat the food that was on the dishes. And so if you can look at yourself and go, I'm very content with what I have, and also more would be nice, then you can strive for it. But I think if you are at a place where more is the only thing that's going to make you content, you're never going to catch that. You can never catch up to more if that's what you're after. That said, you would never get, you would never be in a place on this earth where you're like, I only want enough oxygen. I just need enough. No, I would like an abundance of oxygen, please and thank you. Like I need to be able to breathe, and I would like to be able to breathe easily. Right? You would never get to a place where you're thirsty and you're like, oh, I just want just enough water. No, I want to soak it all in. I want to bathe in it. Like I just want it all around. I need all of the water. And for some reason, it's okay to say, I want an abundance of oxygen. I want an abundance of water. But if you want an abundance of wealth, no. Now you're a bad person. I don't think it works that way. Money is not a good, money is not an evil. Money just is. It's a tool. And it is a reflection, how you are with money is a reflection of you as a person. So I think you have to be careful. If you're a greedy person, more money is just going to make you more greedy. But if you're a generous person, an abundance of money is going to make you abundantly generous. I hope that wasn't too big of a circle. It all made sense in my brain, but wrapping it up, I was like, whoa, that may have been a little too out there.
Well, one of the key things I get from that, and it's very true, is it's the root of the root of evil is the love of money.
Mhm.
So it's the money itself is a tool, but it's to what is our intentions behind that tool. I can take a hammer, and if I go to hit a nail, then that's good. But if I go to hit Will, then that's bad. So it's the tool is just the means. The actual intent behind is whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. That's spot on.
Yep, absolutely. I think there's this false humility that our enemy uses as a tactical attack, and he's pretty good at it. He's like, you don't need an abundance; you need just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that of all the charities, Christians are the large majority to donate to all charities. Did you know? So going back to David, your analogy, hey, God, please make me a pipeline. It's this analogy of an open hand, and my hand is open, and the abundance is flowing, and it just continues to flow because I'm never going to white knuckle what he has. I'm just going to keep it open, trusting that he's going to provide for all my needs, all of the ones that are looking to me for their needs, and he's going to do it. He's never left me or abandoned me or forsaken me. So it's like, yeah, like let me be a pipeline. I want to do that. I want to bless others. I want to forget about myself and bless others. And I think that is really the contrasting of biblical and worldly abundance. Laura, I think you said it really well. You said worldly abundance is all about me, 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 me. Whereas biblical abundance is about you, and God, 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 right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've got a question for you, David.
Well, hold on.
Here we go.
Hold on with that
Okay.
1 second. We're at the halfway point. So anybody that's in the chat room, feel free to post your question. Today we actually have a special going on that every single person, because normally one person becomes a winner out of the chat. Today, every single person is going to be a winner of a prize. So make sure you post a good question, and we'll get those answered live on air. And now, Will, what was your question?
Yeah. I love that. It's exciting. Does that come out of your pocket or mine?
Your pocket. No.
Oh, goodness gracious. Please use me as a pipeline, God in heaven. Okay, so my question for you, David, is how and what have you identified within you that is worldly, maybe a desire to have worldly abundance that you just had to crucify, kill, annihilate?
That'd be a hard one because that'd be a long time ago. Can't think of anything recently because I have 3 key people in my life that keeps me in check to make sure that I don't rise up, higher than I need to be. I have a person that helps keep me pride out. So I have certain people that I keep in my life. So I'm going to revert that question to Laura. How do you keep worldly out and keep it strong in spiritual?
I think what you said was really key there, David, actually. Having people around you that will call out when you're being selfish, having people around you. And I have 5 of them, right? And they're called my children. They will definitely throw in, hey, mom, like, we need this. And I'm just sitting here going, no, you don't. You're being selfish. You need. And then I'm like, oh, usually when my immediate response to them is, you don't need that. It's because it goes against something that I want. So like when my kids will be begging for time on the TV all the time, if they could spend all of the day watching television, they would. This is what they're doing right now. In fact, while they are distracted and not coming in here, they demand, I need the television. And I'm like, oh, these selfish kids that just want to sit around and watch TV all day. You know what I would like to do? I would like to sit around and watch TV all day. So I'm calling out in them what I see is wrong with me. And it is one of the most beautiful mirrors. And I suggest everybody in the world get some kits that will mirror back to you your own faults and flaws. And I think that they are it's such a beautiful thing to be able to see, okay, here's where I'm failing. Here's where I can improve. But at the same time, it's hard to say, William, where things are starting to creep in if you're not sitting down and paying attention to them on a daily basis. So for me, if I skip two, sometimes I miss a day of reading my Bible. It happens. I have 5 children, right? Sometimes the day gets away and you're like, how did that even happen? Okay, I'm not going to do it again. If I skip 2 days, I'm a mean person. And so it really is finding those things that are going to keep you balanced and keep you full, things that are going to keep you down to earth and help you continue to grow into the person that you want to be. But having a mirror in front of you, or having good friends around you, having people that are willing to call out whenever you're being less than ideal, that's when you want to have those people to say, hey, I need to pull you back to where you said you want to be. Right? As coaches, that's what we do all the time with our clients. You said you wanted this, but you were doing this other thing that's keeping you from doing the thing that you said you ultimately wanted. How can we make that adjustment? That's what we do as coaches. And I think that having a good coach in your life, 5 stars, highly recommend. And I have one of those too. So when I find myself out of sorts, I call up my coach. I'm like, hey, this doesn't feel good. Can you help me get things back into sorts? And that's the best.
Okay, so we have a very good question in here. And the funny thing is I was actually going to make a quote by what you said, Laura. Get you some kids. Well, we have a person that posted a question in the chat from that. So I gotta love it. Your great quote, get you some kids. How do you do that? That's a great perspective. How do you get that?
How do I get which? Sorry, I must have missed something about the quote there.
Great perspective. How do you get you some kids?
Well, when a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, they give each other a special hug. And I've not had
the birds and the bees talk now live on Real Talk at the Round Table. This is happening.
One thing
Laura
about
Sexton is going to teach us.
Yeah, one thing about this podcast is it's real talk, unscripted, raw, as it happens.
I'm not sure that person is qualified to get a gift, to get a reward. I don't know. They got to ask a real question.
Hey, every question
I do think that was a real question. I want to say, if you don't have children of your own, going and volunteering at your church and the church nursery is a good place to go. Because those children, I promise you, will humble you quickly. And they will point out things in you that you did not know you needed pointed out. I promise you it will come. And I also promise you that your church's nursery is understaffed and they could really use your help.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's how you get some kids.
Church where I was at, we were actually looking for a new person to head up the children's department. So they're always understaffed. Because people have to go through background checks to go back with the kids.
Yes.
They don't just let anybody back there.
Yeah.
So, and you'd be surprised at how many background checks we do at the church that fail. If you know your background is bad, why do you apply?
I can't answer that question.
Working for me.
Okay, so they laughed. But yes, very good point. And I will be quoting that because I love that. Get you some kids.
Mirrors. They absolutely are little mirrors. I've got 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. The oldest is a boy, and then it goes girl, boy. And I absolutely know what you're talking about, Laura. It's like it's pretty humiliating sometimes. It's like, okay, that's I've done that. And I was just with the youngest, and he's 3, and he'll be 4 soon, and he's everywhere all at once. Okay, and walking that tightrope as a dad, and you as a mom, I'm sure it is. It's hard. It's a tightrope, isn't it? It's like Okay, it's up to us parents to teach our children to listen and obey, respect authority. If we don't, they will someday in the back of a cop car. Okay, my kids will not learn that way. They'll learn from me and their mother, but also not to discipline the wonder, the adventure, the excitement, the curiosity out of them. Like it's a tightrope between those two, respecting authority and engaging inside the correct parameters of learning and enjoying wonder. So, Solomon, my youngest boy, he was, everywhere all at once. And it's like, I caught myself in this game. Like, I'm like chasing him. I'm like, no, don't do that. I'm like putting out fires. Like, that's my job with him. And it's like, no, wait. Like, I was so convicted because I got a little bit I got harsh. And he's 3. And and I'm like, oh my goodness, and he and I, we were sitting there. He was on the counter, and I was there with him. I was holding him. He was crying. I was crying. It was like this whole, like God was reprimanding me, and I was comforting him. And it's like, don't be harsh with your son. It's your job to make it fun. Like make it fun. Don't be a stick in the mud. I know you got it hard. Like you should see how much grace I'm bestowing on you right now. I'm like, I know. Thank you so much, Daddy. Like this is God, like talking to me in real time, and I'm holding him, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna, because this is like he loves to play water. He loves to do the water, and I've got a sink there, and like, okay, let's play with water here. Let's not play with water over there next to the TV and the remote, all this stuff. Let's do it here. So he's like, okay, and then we're doing it. And it's something that simple. Like he gets to play with water and I get to not worry about him shorting out the electronics because he's doing it at the sink. There you go.
Another thing I love about kids, they have no filter.
Yeah.
So they will tell you what is on their mind at the time, and sometimes it's like raw, it's real, it's like it makes you think. It's like, oh, did I come off like that? You know? Where a lot of times when we become teenagers or adults and stuff like that, we try to respect others. We don't want to hurt their feelings. Best thing I love when kids come up to you, man, you stink. What, do I need
Yeah.
to take a shower? No adult would say that to somebody unless they're really bad, which I've said to people sometimes, hey, you need to take a shower. But for the most part, you don't say that. A kid will.
And kids get away with it because it's like they're not meaning to hurt you. They just don't get it. They don't understand. So it's like, okay, like you can get away with that. But I think that there's a certain way to say that as an adult. It's not that we can't say what needs to be said, but we need to say it in a gentle way. Yeah.
Yeah. One of mine has snuck into the room. Just FYI.
Well, we've seen it. It's a blessing.
Yeah, she was trying to be sneaky. She's not. She's cute though.
Well, the funny thing is, and kids think they're trying something new that we won't know. We've all done the same thing before. We were all kids. We were born at night, just not last night. Matter of fact, I don't know about you all, but like way back when we were kids, there was no cameras. There was nothing like that. We literally got away with murder. Now you can't do that.
Goodness. I mean, I did not literally get away with murder. I did not.
Yeah, I didn't literally, but that's a figure of speech.
Just making sure we're throwing that out there. None of us. This is live, David. Come on now.
That's true.
See yourself. Just kidding. I haven't either. So, David, I was born at night. How'd you know? I guess that goes back to the figure of speech.
And like she said, yeah.
You got tired of Danny Go or whatever she's watching on the television.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she didn't want to watch what everybody else was watching, so she brought me an iPad and asked me to turn it on for her.
Oh.
She didn't watch what she wants to watch. She's 2. We're living life. It's fine.
Wow, and they're well versed on electronics. Mine are too.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable to be quite frank. I grew up in a time where at my parents' house, at my mom's house, we had one TV. It was in the common room, and you could only watch what everybody else was watching. At my dad's house, there was a TV in every room, and so everybody could be separated and doing their own thing. So now that I have 5 children, I've made it a really big point that we will only have one TV in the house. We live in a world where it is easy enough for everybody to have their own iPad or everybody have their own TV, and they could all go, everybody could go and be in their own space and do their own thing and not have to interact with each other. But when it comes to something that we could have in abundance, it would be very easy for me to buy all of those things. What we would lose would be the connection, the connectivity. I would rather us have an abundance of connectivity than an abundance of electronics. I would rather us have an abundance of time together as opposed to an abundance of time apart. And so going back to the topic here at hand, I think it's really, really, really important for us to decide what our values are, not just our goals. So David, you had mentioned this earlier and I skipped over it. Now I'm editing myself here. I think in order to list out what your goal is, you have to first have a value around it. You have to have a value that you want to live your life by. Whenever I'm working with clients to make budgets, what is it that you value most? And how do we make your budget look at that? What do you value? What is your goal? How do I make the two line up? Those are the things that I think are really important. So going back to what David had said, 30 minutes ago, I think that's really great. And I think that it's one of those things where you can live accidentally. But if you want to have the life that you want, you have to be intentional.
Something you said about the intentionality with the connectivity with the relationships inside your home, you had a firm boundary, you made it known that you would have one TV. And the reason behind that is to have the connection, the interconnections between your kids and your husband. First of all, congratulations. Awesome. Really good. Second of all, why is it, do you think, that we have a natural bent to go towards TV rather than those interconnected relationships?
It's easier. We can watch somebody else have drama. We don't have to have our own. We are not at risk of alienating ourselves from somebody else because we don't have to connect with them. We don't have to accidentally, we don't risk making a mistake in our relationship. It's also a quick dopamine hit. There are literal chemicals that fire off in your brain that make you really, really happy when you're watching things firing on a screen. It feels good. All of those things. And I think that this has to do with, and we're on Real Talk, so I'm going to go there. I think that has something to do with why pornography is so pervasive in our society right now. Why that is something that people, especially a lot of young men, it's easier to go there than it is to be in a real relationship with a real human, with a real woman. I think that there is an ease to and a comfort in watching life happen on a screen as opposed to being an active participant. Because when I'm an active participant, I'm vulnerable. I could get hurt. I could hurt somebody else. And nobody wants that. But also, I also think that there is a positive around screen time. I was an actor for a decade. Growing up, I grew up in a household where I was home alone a lot. And so I found solace in the people on television. I would be in a bit of turmoil in my home and I would go, what feels really good and not like turmoil? Watching people on TV have relationships. So I grew up knowing that what I wanted to do was I wanted to be inside that TV because I use TV as an escape. I was able to escape my reality for 30 to 90 minutes at a time. I wanted to be the person that people could use to go escape from their reality for 30 to 90 minutes. And what I found now is what I am is not a 30 to 90 minute person that helps people escape, but I'm able to help them escape their reality for a lifetime, because we change what their day-to-day looks like, and we instead create the life that they want so that they can live that out ongoing.
Yeah, wonderful. Very good. You mentioned the bad, the being vulnerable, the hurting, the being hurt. I think something that is a real tragedy with a lot of us just neglecting connection, neglecting relationship because of the bad. We miss out on the good. Like, there is real connection like at hand, and there's nothing like it. There's no screen that can give us something that is the real. Like, there's counterfeit, and that's the screen, but there's like the authentic connection there. And I think that is a real tragedy with, like you said, the porn industry, in regard to the romantic uh, love between the sexes, eros, inside of a marital holy matrimony. Like, sex was given to marriages, not to man and woman. And it's that counterfeit, that hits, and it's like, well, we've got the same, or maybe it's something like it, a hit of dopamine or serotonin or whatever, and we're like, I've got that figured out. I don't need the ball and chain when I can just do this. It's like, yeah, but you're missing out on everything that God had in store, and maybe still possibly has in store, but you've got to lay it down. You've got to retrain your brain. You've got to wake up to reality, right? Wake up to reality. And I think that we are living amongst a bunch of zombies, the Walking Dead. They're all around us. A bunch of really just. What do you think, David?
Hey, I was going right with it. I was agreeing with that, but uh, I did want to make a couple announcements real quick. We're in our closing times. So as of right now, we had 2 people that posted in the comments. Make sure there's a link below of a form. Make sure you fill that out. Both of you guys will get a reward. Now we like to do 2 frees and 1 paid. So first of all, we'd like to tell everybody about all the coaches out there. There's a free community for coaches to unite and be on one accord and help each other out. The link is below. Make sure you join that community. It is free. And then we have a huge event that is coming. It's going to be the end of the year. It's going to be in Zoom. It's going to be in one of Zoom's events. So they have the space where it's going to be where ads down the halls, and then you got the different rooms, and each room is going to have activities. There's going to be an admission price of $25. Now there's going to be a raffle. 10% of all the door prizes is going to be given off in that raffle, either from $100 to $1,000 will be given to one person just from coming into the entrance. If you give an idea on some of the activities we're going to have, you're going to be able to win tickets to get into this event for free. So that's going to be huge. Now, each one of the areas is going to be more games and stuff like that. The whole activity is geared for financial freedom journey. Many people are out there trying to get financial freedom and get on that journey of becoming debt free, having investments, things like that on their journey. And this is going to help you with that. One of the events we will have is it's going to be a box with money in it. You pull it out, and as far as you pull the money, you get to keep the money. If you hit a red thing, you lose all the money. So pull out enough to keep. Don't get too greedy, because if you get the red, you lose it all. That's just one of the games we're going to have, but we're going to have a lot of fun little things. It's going to be a huge event. So make sure that you check the link below, because that's going to give you all the information. We're really gearing towards it right now. It was posted on YouTube yesterday. We're looking for the ideas. This is going to be geared towards the after Christmas, before New Year's, because it's going to bring you money for the new year. The next thing we like to announce to everybody out there is make sure you stay plugged into YouTube. There's going to be a lot of things coming. It's all free. And there's going to be a lot of things coming, especially as the year winds down, because it's going to be explosive for you this year. Trust me on that. Now, Laura, you had something you wanted to make mention of?
Sure. I'm super blessed to have been on this podcast. Thank you so much. Anybody that likes to listen to podcasts, they can find me on my podcast, Money and Career Mastery. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast. Also, my website is full of free resources. It's accelerateyourlegacy.com. You can click the link below. I think David put it in there for you guys. At my website at accelerateyourlegacy.com, you can find free resources and downloads. And that's if you are on your debt-free journey. If you are a coach, I have free prayer cards for you. You can pray over your clients. I have also a free membership on Facebook. So I have all of the things. I have so many things because I want to be in relationship with you and I want to help you grow and develop. And I hope to talk to any and all of you in the DMs. Send me a message, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation.
With that being said, is there any final things, Will, you have to say?
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Hopefully, we'll be lucky enough to have you back on sometime, maybe before the year ends. I don't know. It's going to be close. Maybe sometime next year.
Sounds fun. I'm open to it.
And did you have any final things, Laura?
No, I think that one of the things that I said no, but yes, I do have a final thought. If you were in a place where you're thinking, I have no idea what these crazy people are talking about, abundance seems like it's a million miles away and I'm never going to get there, reach out to one of the three of us. We want to have a conversation. We want to help you grow. We want to help you find that freedom to live in a full, rich, abundant life that you were called to live in.
That's right. Thank you so much for being on, Laura. It was a blessing having you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And for those that were in that posted a comment, make sure you fill out the reward and claim your reward. Thank you so much. It was great having you guys, and we'll see you the same time, same next week.